Welcome, everyone, to China True Story. I'm Leo, and I'll be guiding you through today's story.
And I'm Sophie. It's one of those tales that it defies belief, honestly. Exposes a very dark side of human desperation.
Yeah, picture this. A typical village. Okay, if cellar there is just, practical for potatoes, pickled cabbage, stuff for the winter. But in this one village, one woman's cellar hid something. Well, something truly sinister. 4 bodies.
In one pit.
One pit. And hidden for 7 years. It's an incredible story of manipulation, vengeance, and a secret just buried for way too long.
And what's really fascinating, I think, is how deep the deception ran. I mean, this stretched back years before anyone even had a clue.
Right.
It's not just, a straightforward murder case. It's this intricate puzzle of motive, opportunity, all wrapped up in the appearance of a totally ordinary life, even a respected one.
A respected village doctor, no less. Exactly. So we'll unpack the astonishing details of how it all came crashing down, and crucially, what drove this seemingly kind woman to do, well, what she did.
Okay, let's unpack this. Our mission for you today is to really get the full scope of this extraordinary case. From those first disappearances, right through to the shocking confessions, and that really unsettling why behind it all. So our story kicks off in Xingshan Village, Heilongjiang Province. It's April 27, 2010. 65-year-old Lu Xiuyu, he's a cook at a local construction site. He just vanishes.
Just gone. His workers waited, started grumbling, then got genuinely confused. Lunchtime came and went, no Lu Xiu.
They checked his house.
Yeah, found it unlocked, lights still on, but no sign of him.
Wow. And then it gets worse, right?
Uh-huh. Just 3 days later, his younger brother, Lu Xubin, he's 46, he disappears too.
Okay, so that must have immediately raised alarms for the authorities.
Oh, absolutely. Look, an older, maybe more reclusive brother vanishing, that's one thing. But Lu Xubin, he was known as quick-witted, a traitor, mobile. For his phone to suddenly go dark, for him to just drop off the map, that was highly suspicious. Very out of character.
So with both brothers missing, what was the connection? What was the first lead police grabbed onto?
Well, one name immediately popped up, connecting both of them. Su Hong,
The village doctor.
the village doctor. 40 years old, unmarried, trained in nursing. Police quickly found out both brothers had lent her money. Lu Zhuyu, the older one, 5,000 yuan.
Okay.
And Lu Xubin, the younger, a pretty significant 10,000 yuan.
That's a decent amount for back then in that area.
It really was. And critically, just before he vanished, Lu Xubin had apparently gone to her house, the reason, to ask for his money back.
Okay, but you said she was respected. How was she seen in the village generally? Was she someone people would suspect?
Absolutely not. The complete opposite, actually. Everyone described her as kind, generous, soft-spoken.
Educated.
Helpful. The type of person who would open her door at midnight if your kid had a fever. No questions asked.
Right.
So when the police first brought her in for questioning, the whole village was stunned. They were convinced, no, there must be a mistake, not Su Hong. Nobody suspected a thing about her cellar or, what was actually in it.
So Su Hong admitted borrowing the money.
She did. She admitted to the loans, but she was adamant it had all been repaid. She even claimed she'd called Lu Xiu's in that day to confirm it was all settled.
So for a moment, the trail kind of went cold.
It did. Looked like maybe just a financial dispute that got tense, but then, May 10th, everything changed with a single text message.
Ah, the text?
Yeah, sent from Lu Xubin's phone to his sister, and the message, it was a confession.
A confession from Lu Xiumin.
Supposedly. It said he'd accidentally killed his older brother, Lu Xiuyu, during an argument, claimed he pushed him, Lu Xiuyu hit the doorframe and died. Then, he said, he panicked and ran, too scared to face prison.
Wow, okay, but you said supposedly. The detectives didn't buy it.
Not for a second. Something felt immediately off.
What tipped them off? What didn't add up?
Well, first off, investigators checked the brother's house thoroughly. No signs of a struggle, no blood, no broken door frame like the text claimed. And maybe even weirder, 3,000 yuan in cash was just left there.
Left behind.
Left behind. And as the detectives pointed out, someone genuinely fleeing for their life, trying to disappear, they don't leave cash on the table. It just doesn't happen.
Right. So who leaves money behind? That's the question.
Exactly. And then there was the language in the text message itself.
Okay, what about it?
Lu Xiumin wasn't known for being, particularly literate. His previous texts, they were clumsy, full of typos, kind of broken grammar.
But typical text speak sometimes.
Yeah. But this message, it was perfect. Clear grammar, polished tone, almost literary. It just didn't sound like him at all.
So the style was completely wrong.
Completely. The police weren't buying it. And then the pattern got even stranger. Every time they tried calling Liu Xubin's phone, no answer. But instead, another message would arrive.
Always from his number.
Always from his number, always to the same sister. And these messages kept saying, "I'm fine, don't worry." But also, and this is key, they always insisted Su-hong had nothing to do with any of this.
Okay, that is weird. How many messages like this?
Over a dozen, between May 10th and May 16th. Always Liu Xubin's number, always to the sister, always reassuring her, and always, always clearing Su-hong.
It sounds like protesting too much, doesn't it?
That's exactly how detectives saw it. A textbook case of overcompensation. Too neat, too rehearsed, trying way too hard to point the finger away from Su-hong.
So they circled back.
They went right back to square one, reviewed everything, and that one name just kept floating to the top. Su-hong.
This time with a warrant.
This time with a warrant. And when officers arrived, they didn't beat around the bush. Just a simple, direct question. Where's your cellar?
And that's when she broke.
That's when her composure just cracked. She hesitated, clearly shaken, and then she said something really, really unusual for that part of China.
What did she say?
I don't have one.
No cellar in northeastern China.
Exactly. It was a massive red flag. Everyone has a root cellar there. It's essential. For surviving the winter, storing cabbage, potatoes, it's basic.
But saying you don't have a kitchen.
Pretty much. It made no sense. To the police, it screamed one thing. She was hiding something big. And they were determined to find it.
So they started searching the courtyard.
Immediately. And it didn't take long. Under some overgrown weeds, there it was. A wooden hatch.
And when they opened it.
The second they pried it open, this thick, absolutely foul stench just rolled out.
Yeah.
Unmistakable. Human waste, decay. Just awful.
Oh, God. What did Su-hong do?
She just snapped. Threw herself between the police and the cellar opening, screaming, flailing, desperate to stop them.
But it was too late.
Way too late. The cellar was deep, maybe 3 meters.
Yeah.
And just packed with human feces, rotting garbage, old rags. A biohazard nightmare.
So they had to get specialized gear.
Oh, yeah. Hazmat technicians had to go in full protective suits. They started carefully sifting through the top layer of sludge using, like, farming rakes.
And they found something.
They did. A rake caught on something. The corner of a bedsheet. It was clean. Weirdly clean, standing out against all the filth.
Too clean.
Too clean. They pulled it gently and saw feet. Bound. Motionless.
Oh, no.
The technicians cleared away more debris, and there they were. 2 bodies, wrapped tightly in bed sheets, tied up with cloth strips, just stuffed in there.
The Liu brothers.
It was them. Forensics confirmed it later. Cause of death. Mechanical asphyxiation.
Strangled.
Deliberately strangled. Methodically. Faced with that, Su-hong just went silent. Under interrogation, she confessed to everything involving them.
But somehow, incredibly, the horror wasn't over yet.
No. News travels fast in a village, right? Word of the bodies got out. And then 2 more families came forward.
More missing people.
More missing people connected to Su-hong. Relatives of Li Swing, that was Su-hong's sister-in-law. She'd been missing since November 2005.
Oh, 5 years earlier.
And also the family of Yan Bingtao, Su-hong's brother-in-law, missing since March 2003.
7 years. So the obvious chilling question was, were they also in the cellar?
Could the cellar hold even more secrets? And it did. While cleaning it out, processing the scene, officers found something else, buried deeper.
What was it?
A third body, or what was left of one, bones, rotting fabric. A female skull with long hair still attached.
Oh, horrid.
DNA tests confirmed it. It was Li Xuing, the missing sister-in-law.
So they confronted Su-hong again.
They did, and with this new evidence, nowhere left to hide, she confessed to it all. All the murders, the lies, the 7 years of cover-up, everything.
What did they find out about her background, her motives?
Well, to even begin to understand, you have to go way back to 1994 when she got married.
Okay.
She described herself as having zero interest in intimacy. Said she couldn't meet her husband's expectations, constantly refused his advances.
So the marriage was cold from the start.
Very cold. But in that kind of village, divorce, hugely shameful. So they just stayed married, barely speaking, trapped by appearances.
What happened then?
About 6 months later, her husband just left. Went off to work in Ningbo, a city far away. Su-hong moved back in with her parents, raising their child basically alone.
Did they ever divorce?
Never formally. Years went by. Then came the final straw. The thing she said really broke her. He started living with another woman down in Ningbo. That woman got pregnant.
Oh, wow.
And he sent Su-hong a text message.
Yeah.
Bragging about it. Just callously bragging.
Unbelievable cruelty.
And Su-hong said right then, something inside her just snapped. She gave up on love, on men, on everything. That, she claimed, was the moment this deep, deep hatred started to grow.
Okay, so fast forward to 2003. Her mind's warped by this, her hatred's festering, and her own failed marriage is twisting how she sees everything.
Exactly. And that's when the first known murder happens. Yan Mingtao, her younger sister, was going through a really nasty divorce with him. He was apparently angry, violent.
So Su-hong tried to help her sister.
She did. She hid her sister away.
Mm-hmm.
A few days later, Yan Mingtao shows up at Su-hong's door, furious, demanding to know where his wife is.
And it got violent.
Very violent. A huge fight broke out. And in what she described as a moment of just blind rage, Su-hong shoved him down, grabbed an empty glass bottle from the yard,
Right.
and smashed it into his temple.
And killed him.
He stopped breathing within
Like
minutes.
this.
But here's the chilling part. Su-hong didn't panic.
No panic after killing someone.
None, apparently. She just went and told her father what she'd done, and together the two of them carried the body away somewhere and burned it that night.
Burned it. So no evidence.
No witnesses, no remains, nothing.
And the father?
He died in 2008. He took the secret of where Yan Bingtao's body was burned to his grave. It's never been found.
So that first murder, committed with such coldness, it really set a terrifying precedent, didn't it?
It really did. It showed a capacity for extreme violence and for calculated concealment right from the start.
Okay, so that explains Yan Bingtao. What about Li Suang, her sister-in-law? Why kill her?
Su-hong's explanation there was rooted in resentment. She talked about Li's shameful life. Specifically, Su-hong's mother had apparently caught Li sneaking a man into the family home.
Which was a huge deal in that community.
A huge source of shame for the family. Sue said she tried to reason with Li, begged her to change her ways, but Li just ignored her.
Okay, so there was resentment.
Yeah.
But what triggered the murder?
Money again. In November 2005, Li came back from working in Ningbo. She wanted to collect 14,000 yuan she'd left with Su-hong for safekeeping.
Another significant amount.
Yes, but Su-hong had already spent it. Li was furious, naturally, they argued. Li was apparently sick and weak at the time, and she eventually just collapsed onto Su-hong's couch and fell asleep.
And Sue saw her chance.
That's when she made her move. Took a rope and strangled Li Suang while she slept.
Oh my God. Just like that.
Just like that. Then she dragged the body out to the vegetable cellar and dumped it in. And for the next 5 years, she systematically threw trash, human waste, everything into that pit, layer upon layer.
To cover the smell.
To mask the smell of death with the everyday stench of garbage and decay.
It's just pure evil. And finally, the Lee brothers. What was her story there? Why kill them?
Her explanation for them was perhaps the most disturbing. She claimed that years earlier, when she borrowed the money, they didn't just want cash back.
What do they want?
They wanted her. According to Su-hong's confession, they used the debt as leverage for sexual coercion. They allegedly promised to cancel the debt if she submitted, if she kept quiet.
So she's claiming they were extorting her for sex.
That's what she claimed. She described feeling powerless, trapped, deeply ashamed, and terrified the village would find out. This constant humiliation, she said, just festered.
And she decided she wouldn't let them control her anymore.
She decided she would kill them both. End the control and the shame, end them.
So how did she do it? Lose you first.
Right. One night, Liu Xu came to her house again. According to her account, he couldn't perform sexually, but humiliated her in other ways that just fueled her rage and shame.
And she acted calm.
She said nothing, just smiled faintly
Right.
and handed him a small white pill, called it an aphrodisiac.
But it wasn't.
No. With her nursing background, she knew exactly what she was doing. It was a strong sedative.
So he passed out?
Within minutes, unconscious.
Yeah.
Then she tied him up, tightly, and held a rope around his neck until he stopped moving.
And Lu Shubin, the younger brother.
He arrived a few days later, looking for his brother and his money. Same plan. Same lie about an aphrodisiac, same sedative, same horrific end.
Both brothers dead.
Both strangled, both thrown into the same cellar, buried beneath the accumulating filth and the body of Li Shuing.
And for 7 years, nobody knew. 4 people murdered, hidden in a pit of waste in her own backyard.
While she just carried on, living her life, being the helpful village doctor, even sending those texts from the victims' phones. Got out for work, don't worry, just chillingly normal on the surface.
Until the Liu brothers disappeared close together, finally raising enough suspicion for the police to dig deeper. Wow. What an incredibly disturbing deep dive this has been. The sheer audacity, the coldness. Hiding 4 bodies for 7 years. Right there. It's almost impossible to comprehend.
It really is. And if you try to connect this to a bigger picture, you see how things like intense social pressure, especially around shame, marriage, expectations for women in traditional settings,
Yeah.
how these things can just fester.
Yeah.
Suhaga's story, it's not just about a serial killer, is it? It feels like a tragic look at how trauma, silence, and maybe a lack of any healthy way to deal with deep anger and perceived injustice, how that can curdle into extreme violence, especially when mixed with that terrifying ability to deceive.
It makes you wonder what else can grow in places where people feel trapped, where secrets are buried under layers of shame and silence.
Exactly. Her crimes may be born from desperation. Maybe her violence was some kind of twisted cry for help or power from someone ignored for too long. But like you said, no amount of vengeance fixes anything, does it?
No, it just creates more tragedy. When the police lifted that cellar lid, they didn't just find bodies. They found years of secrets, anguish, the fragments of a woman who completely broke apart. Justice came late, but the impact, the echoes of this, they'll last much longer. We really hope this deep dive into the cellar of shame has given you a clearer, if deeply unsettling understanding of this case.
If you found this exploration compelling, even though it was tough, please do subscribe to our channel, China True Story. We cover a whole range of topics, true crime like this, social issues, urban legends, cultural insights.
Yeah, we've got more deep dives lined up, and we're already working on the next one, so definitely stay tuned.
And hey, if you have your own true stories, or perhaps strange things you've come across here in China that you think would make for a good deep dive, please reach out. We'd genuinely love to hear from you.
Absolutely. Your stories could be our next exploration.
All right, that's all from us for this session. Goodbye for now.
Goodbye, everyone.